War never changes. Those iconic words have opened every Fallout game, delivered in Ron Perlman's equally iconic voice.
But war never changes.
This line immediately sets a tone and feel that will pervade a player's time as they play through these games. But while war never changes, other things do. For instance, video game adaptations are not assumed to be terrible anymore. Thanks to the likes of Arcane, Super Mario Bros., and HBO's The Last of Us, video game adaptations are more than just product tie-ins. And that means Amazon's new live-action Fallout series might just have a chance. In less than 24 hours, we'll get to see if this adaptation ranks among the best or the worst. The Fallout games have had a long and rather interesting history. The first game was released in 1997, developed by Interplay as a tactical RPG. Fallout is considered to be an unforgivingly difficult game to play, but it did set up many of the themes and core world building that still defines the series to this day. From the beginning, Fallout has been set in a post-apocalyptic America after a nuclear war decimated the entire world. Knowing such a disaster was imminent, the Vault-Tec company built a series of underground vaults to house and protect humanity. Each of the Fallout games involves one of these survivors called Vault Dwellers being forced out of their protective homes and into the irradiated wastelands above ground. There, players are met with a host of characters and creatures who live in the wastes. Almost all of these entities are hostile, as is the very air and water. Learning how to survive as well as achieve the character's main goal is what these games are all about. After the first game, Interplay would release a sequel and an action-oriented spin-off, Fallout Tactics, which wasn't received well initially. While in development on a third mainline game, some key members of the development staff left. The studio faced some financial trouble, and Interplay's version of Fallout 3 was ultimately cancelled. Bethesda Game Studios would come to own the rights to the series and produce their own version of Fallout 3. While it stayed true to the series' origins, it did add Bethesda's first-person RPG perspective, which was made famous by the Elder Scrolls games. Fallout 3 also introduced the VATS system, which allowed players to target specific enemy body parts to inflict different types of damage, and this gave it a different kind of tactical experience. Fallout 3 brought the series back to life, with an impressive sales performance. Riding high off this success, another spin-off, Fallout New Vegas, was released by Obsidian Entertainment in 2010, and is regarded by many to be one of the best in the series. After this, Fallout 4 was released in 2015, to a bit less acclaim. Then the series took a hard hit with Fallout 76 in 2018. The MMO version of Fallout committed just about every error possible, from the lack of content to non-existent NPCs, persistent game bugs, and Bethesda's almost predatory monetization efforts, which killed whatever could have worked about this experiment. Now it's been 6 years since the Fallout 76 debacle, and 9 years since the last mainline entry in this franchise. And while there is talk about a Fallout 5 in development, almost nothing is known about it. This franchise has been hurting from the long delay between iterations, and the damage 76 did to the name. It's into this time that we are getting a live-action adaptation in the form of an Amazon Prime original series. Masterminded by Jonathan Nolan, brother to filmmaker Christopher Nolan. Jonathan has worked as a co-writer on some of his brother's films, such as The Prestige and Interstellar. But he's no stranger to television, as he helped to create Person of Interest for CBS and Westworld for HBO. Given Nolan's work, he isn't a bad match for Fallout, and his primary involvement has been a source of hope that this may be a halfway decent show. However, Nolan isn't the only one behind the wheel here. Geneva Robertson-Dorette, the writer of Captain Marvel and the reboot Tomb Raider movie, is a co-creator and co-executive producer. And let's not forget, this is from Prime Studios, who are also responsible for the Wheel of Time and the Rings of Power shows, which are not known to be honest adaptations of their source material. So on paper, Fallout has some points for and some points against it. The real test, of course, is what the show actually looks and feels like. And we have a glimpse into that thanks to a trailer and some promotional material. I think the main trailer is generally pretty good. The production design looks spot on. The dark tone, with some humor that doesn't take itself too terribly seriously, matches the games.
Holy shit, you're an actual Vault Dweller.
I am. I thought all you dipshits were dead.
The casting seems solid and looks appropriate to the world, and the different factions and groups look representative of their respective counterparts. Going just from this, there's enough to have some hope, right? Well, maybe not so fast. Move from the trailer to the promotional and behind-the-scenes content, videos and interviews. We start to see the gaps in the proverbial power armor. First, we have comments from Jonathan Nolan, who has admitted the show may not make fans of the games happy. He went so far as to say that it would have been a fool's errand to please fans of the franchise. Then if you pay attention to much of the promotion around the show, it almost exclusively centers on getting the look and aesthetics of the world correct, so that it looks like Fallout.
For the fans, it's going to be about fidelity to Fallout.
Everybody working on it, their attention to detail.
In fabricating all the props, like the Pip-Boys, we wanted to stay true to the design and the aesthetic of the game.
And while I don't dismiss the importance of aesthetics in a visual medium, they're only part of what goes into making a successful adaptation. A good story with strong characters is also essential, and we know next to nothing on that front. And what little we do know has not instilled a lot of confidence. One of the lead characters is a vault dweller named Lucy, played by Ella Purnell. In an interview, Purnell described Lucy as having a survivor's identity, which is created by her willingness and ability to adapt. Lucy evolves by facing choices just like in the video games. Unfortunately, this tells us nothing about her character. Facing choices and growing as a result is just the basic function of any competently written character. In the world of Fallout, those who don't adapt die. Survival is a litmus test for life, not a character arc. We also have Walton Goggins, who claims that Fallout is a story of the haves and the have-nots set in a world that is kill or be killed.
Fallout explores the chasm between the haves and the have-nots in a world where it's kill or be killed.
That description doesn't make a lot of sense. The dichotomy of the haves and the have-nots is predicated on a system where there is more than enough to go around. In that world, there are those who take more than they need at the expense of those who don't have enough. At least that's how the phrase is most often applied. But a world that is governed by kill or be killed does not work the same way. The hedonistic pursuit of excess for pleasure is not the greatest good. Survival is. In a world reduced to the baser instincts of survival of the fittest, there are no have and have-nots. There are just the living and the dead. Yes, there are a couple of times the games indulge in side quests that carry similar themes, but they are the exception, not the rule, and they are arguably the weakest storylines. So forgive me if you think I'm reaching here, but it sounds like the Fallout show will be truly emphasizing what is really a minor part of the games, namely the commentary on Western capitalism. As I said, the games do take a couple sidelong swipes at corporatist America, but it's mainly part of the backdrop of the world and nothing that protrudes too much into the game's narrative. It sounds like this may be more central to the show, which at best will be annoying, and at worst will overtake other elements. There's also a number of warning signs that the Brotherhood of Steel will be portrayed as an evil fascist regime which threatens the wastelands. Actor Aaron Moten, talking about his character Maximus, describes him as gravitating towards feeling powerful in a group and struggles to be on his own. This pursuit of strength and power will lead Maximus to align himself with a group that will no doubt have evil intentions, causing Maximus to turn against them. This then would serve as his defining arc in the series. In the game, the Brotherhood of Steel isn't necessarily the good guys, but then again, in the wastelands that make up this world, there are no good guys, just different groups fighting for what they believe is best.
Everyone wants to save the world, they just disagree on how.
It'll be interesting to see if the showrunners and writers display enough nuance to carry that through this adaptation, to show all sides as equally right and wrong, to let viewers decide who they side with more. Instead of, strong-arming forced messages and contrived analogies to drive the point home into our skulls with all the subtlety of a nuclear blast. But I guess we'll find out soon. All 8 episodes of Fallout's first season will be released together on April 11th. At the moment, I'm hoping for the best and expecting the worst. But as always, this is all just one rebel's opinion. What do you think? Are you a fan of the Fallout games? Are you looking forward to Amazon's show? Let me know in the comments below. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, so you'll be sure to get my final reaction to this and others right here on Rebel Normal.